Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment or question comes from SyncLock. In response to my overview of the Korg Poly 61 Part 3, a video I did in November 2021. Oh my god, the Korg Poly 61 comes back to haunt me again. SyncLock writes that Poly 61 did not come with MIDI. The MIDI that is in is a MIDI Poly by Tech made in 2010 and has a large amount of functionality capabilities and CC controls like the filter. I suggest you download the MIDI Poly manual. You could do with another 3 videos on just the MIDI capability alone. I've got to be honest and say, you know, the bottom line is the videos I did on the Korg Poly 61 were not well received because I didn't have the synth for a very long period of time. I borrowed it off Richard. He wasn't enamoured with it and had put it up for sale, and I got it home and he rang me up and said, "I'm sorry mate, it's been sold." So I didn't get an awful lot of time with it. I didn't get an awful lot of time to do any research on it, so those videos really, I got shot down in flames by many people about how much they loved it and how I managed to obliterate their memories of such a lovely synth. Now, I know that the earlier versions of the synth had to be retrofitted, but I'm sure the last version actually had MIDI pre-installed. And I actually went back and looked at it, and it did say that the last version of the synth did have a Roland MIDI. MIDI was fitted by Roland. What it didn't say though is that Roland fitted a partner part to the synth, and I think that's what they did. So the synth came from the factory with the MIDI pre-installed, but the MIDI was actually a partner part, or the connections. And different synths and different retrofits were more successful than others, and much of the functionality was in main due to the synth base, or the base synth design that they could hook into. So quite often you see a MIDI retrofit on an instrument and it literally does no more than trigger a note. Even though it says, you know, it's a MIDI retrofit, it can do no more than trigger the note, because the way the circuitry in the instrument is presented and the way you see a lot of this stuff, you know, you just look at a lot of these MIDI retro conversion kits, what they're doing is soldering wires onto legs of chips to trigger something, or to perform a function, or shut a logic gate down, or do something to make it work. But what I would say is I wish I could make more videos on the Poly 61. I didn't have it for very long, so I can't. If another one comes into my possession, yes, I will look to right the wrongs that you perceive I did to the Poly 61. But other than that, there's not a lot else I can say. Next comment or question comes from Radio Panther FM Tape Integer 5097. That's a mouthful. And he writes, in response to the Roland U-20 demo songs, a video I did in July 2017. I got one of these. However, it's taking work to get it to work. I'm trying. It could be a softer reinstallation. Now, the main issue with the Roland U-20, unfortunately, is the keyboard contacts. And I have a keyboard with keyboard issues, and I will be fixing that keyboard with keyboard issues in a future video. The reason why I haven't fixed it today is because I just haven't got around to it. I've got, as you probably know, I've got so many repairs and pieces of work that I want to do it just takes time to set up to do it. I've got to finish this one. This is driving me nuts. It really is driving me nuts. This should have been done and dusted a year ago, and I still am working on it. And I intend to get this finished as soon as possible. In fact, actually, I'm filming the pieces to get this put back together tomorrow. I've made that decision. I am doing that tomorrow. So there you go. I've got lots more stuff to do though.